Rooting. Not everybody has Ziploc baggies, not everybody has pots. If you don't have substrate, then it really ends in an old plastic bottle. It's the middle of summer. What can you do with your bonsai at this time? Tomatoes are ripening nicely. My ficus is doing well. One of my Brazilian guests in the garden is actually enjoying this weather very much. You all know, of course, how I normally take cuttings. These are my Brazilian Raintree cuttings that I took in earlier this year. The baggie is open by now. I'm letting it ventilate. The cuttings are green. They seem to be growing, so they're doing all that well. But not everybody has Ziploc baggies, not everybody has pots at home. Well, if you don't have substrate, then it really ends. But if you have just a bottle and some substrate, let's try and see whether we can use this as a propagation medium. If you've seen the video on Brazilian rain trees, I made it 3 months ago. You will recognize this plant. This plant I trimmed back a couple of months ago, and since then you can see this extension growth has been added to the plant. So the plant is growing exceptionally well. Time to give it a little bit of a trim and see whether I can get one of the branches to root. As always, preparation is everything. So let's get some substrate in the pot. So with this tree I don't want any big cuts in the front, and this is the front of the tree and there's a big branch growing here and there's 2 other branches, so I'm just going to remove that one. Don't want all those leaves in there, that can just get all rotten. Yeah, let's leave the tip on there. How big is it? It's actually too big, isn't it? Let's make it shorter. Now I don't know if this is going to work. Now it better fit. That's a tight squeeze. But it does go in. Gently does it. Who suggested this video? Why can't anything ever be easy? How much water should I add? That should do. Let's wait for a couple of weeks. See how it goes. Question to you. Put it in the comments. Top on or top off? So, Brazilian Raintree in a discarded plastic bottle as a cutting. I'm expecting, if this all goes well, the next 6 to 8 weeks to be critical. During that time I am going to put this in shade, maybe an hour of sun a day, and that's it. Just wait for it. Only when the substrate goes really dry I'll add a bit of water, but probably that's not necessary. The bottle should work as a mini greenhouse and the plant should grow by itself. Who knows? If you look at this in 8 weeks time, we have a plant growing out of the top. I don't know, I hope so, would be nice. Early fall, we had the first frost warning, so actually it is time to start putting the tropicals inside. Has it worked? I don't know, to be honest. I was hoping, when I started this experiment, that there's going to be lots and lots of roots here on the outside of the plastic and I could show you a nice healthy root ball. But I can't. And in fact, I haven't really thought this through, because now I want to check whether there's roots and I can't. It's not completely true. I can, but I won't. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take this inside, keep it inside over winter, with the cap on, and we'll see in springtime what it has done. Fun experiment. See you in spring. Early spring, and guess what? It doesn't look like it, but it is still alive. I decided to not use the cap because it stays really moist inside. This has been sitting on the windowsill for all of winter, and now actually when I look carefully I see the buds are swelling. So, humid air, new buds. If I remove it later in summer, then the new leaves will be accustomed to the high humidity. Let's take this out, plant it up properly. Well, rain trees do not like wet roots, so I have prepared a pond basket. Let's see what happens if I use this. And I have half cocoa peat and half of my regular substrate in here. Mix it up and let's get this thing out of a pot and see what roots we have. It's also the first time in months that I see this, and wow, I'm actually surprised. No roots. Yet there is budding, there is still a leaf. This has been months in this pot, yet no roots. Anyway, I'll pot it up anyway. As it has no roots at the moment, I'll put the top of the bottle over it again for a couple of weeks and then put it in the greenhouse. Last week of June, and I didn't believe it initially. No, not about the weed that is growing here in the pot. Let's remove that. No, look at that. Finally, after a year since I took the cutting, it is now starting to grow. Tempting as it may seem to now completely leave this off, I am going to leave it on for another week or two, get some extension growth in the hope that then I know that there's roots. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that I'm all thrilled about this plant, because it is really not picking up speed, but there is growth there. This is yellow and there's a bud opening at the base. So I have good hopes that finally this is starting to root. This is 1.5 years already, right? Patience, it does pay off, but you have to have loads of it. If you have another plant, if you actually have another plant, you don't need to wait this long, of course. You can just take new cuttings, which will be stronger. They will root over the season. They'll start growing before winter. It's a lot faster. This, the Coke bottle, I'm going to say, nah, doesn't really work. I have a rooted cutting, but it's not enthusiastically.